Hi guys, Toge here with a new video, and this video will be my UI and Addons setup video for PvP for the War Within. I have a lot of addons I want to show you guys because there's always like questions on my live streams or on my videos like what addons I'm using, and this video will answer every single question. And also, I'll also link the UI code I'm using for myself and how I set up the bars, how I set up the frame, the the um, the frames for myself and the enemies. For example, if I'm doing a set focus, the focus frame is also there. For example, I'm going to give you every single answer. But before we start, today's video is sponsored by Trade Skill Master Addon, in short TSM. TSM is for everyone, whether you're just looking to have a few more goals or you are a skilled trader that looks to flip millions of gold every single month. TSM can help you manage your auctions with ease. This will make sure you're not underselling your precious items, but also not overpaying your future purchases. It can be used to drive your professions to the next level. It will show you what's most profitable to craft, but also the addon offers now a new premium packages, may I say, that help you elevate your gold making game. Tapping in TSM's vast database, helping you with your next decisions on what to buy and also what to sell. Use my link in the description to get 15% off your first purchase of premium TSM package. Thank you to TSM for sponsoring this video, and we will now set our eyes onto the video. Alright, with this out of the way, again, thank you for sponsoring this video. We are going to set our eyes to the addons I'm using. Big warning, I'm not using like complicated Weakauras. You could always find Weakara groups for PvP if you're like looking for that. Personally, I don't use it because I already played the game since ages ago, so I kind of understand whenever something's happening. For example, if someone pops wings, I don't need to have text saying that someone has popped wings. I do see that on my screen. But if you do really need that, just download the Weakara, for example. You install the code, and boom, you have it. You could also put the ones from Mez or from like other people that did create those addons, like those Weakaras. But personally, I don't use it. The Weakaras I use, so let's talk about Weakaras first, because those are the most annoying things to talk about. Weakauras are interesting because you can just look up, you type on Google, for example, fate bound coins Weakaura, for example. If you're playing outlaw rogue or if you're playing an assassination rogue, you can type that on Google and it will find you a few like Weakauras that are existing, and then you choose the ones that you like. For example, this one, it shows me how many coins I have in a row, and which one it is actually showing, right? I have an alter time Weakara, for example, for my mage. Precog, if I have precog, it will also show. I have the Maelstrom one, which is probably the most famous one that I use for my shaman videos. You do like hear the sound effects of it as well, which is very annoying, but it does help. And for example, also very famously for my BM hunter, I use the frenzy tracker, which is probably one of the best Weakauras out there if you are going to play BM. Same for shadowlands, although this one seems broke, but you can play around that as well. And whatever you can actually take, like for example, the arcane missile, a 4-piece from Dragonflight. But it's very cool. Like Weakara is like a mini dev tool, pretty much, where you can do whatever you want as long as you have the code for it. You can also look it up on Google, but you could also just like create your own ones if you're like spending a bit of time for that. Alright, with that out of the way, which ones am I using addons wise for PvP? Again, I'm trying to give you also addons that if you're a beginner, those addons are going to be very valuable. It's not going to clutter your screen. There are a lot of addons that are going to clutter your screen. I'm not going to suggest them. Let's show a few addons. For example, let's show Auctioneer, which is a good addon if you're like wanting a good UI, but you could also use the Trade Skill Master one. That is also a very good one, like the sponsorship has told. And also I'm using that as well, so it's quite cool. And it is very cool to also be able to make gold along the way, especially as a PvPer where gold is very sparse. We have battleground enemies, which is probably the best BG add-on there is. You could have, again, you can show your allies. If you don't want to show your allies, you could also just show the enemies. For example, you have a toggle test mode for arena, which I'm not using, but if I'm using, for example, 1 to 15, you see those are like for the normal random BGs, but also for BGB, so battleground blitz, which is solo QRBG. It will only show the alliance one and the horde one, but you could also disable your allies, for example. So if you say, look, I'm going to disable these ones, I'm going to use the blizzard ones, you can also do that. Personally, I enable it because I like to see which specs on a glimpse. I can see them directly on my screen, while the blizzard ones, you see the colors, which are cool, but it doesn't tell which spec they are. So I do like to play like this. And I do cancel the arena ones. For example, the arena one is just not working. And that's good because I'm only playing the battleground enemies for my battlegrounds. I also do disable the battleground enemies for like the epic BGs because then it's like too much. Like 40 players is too much to see. So I just use the blizzard ones for that. So we have another add-on, obviously, which is big debuffs. It is probably the best add-on if you are wanting to know which kind of crown control effects your allies or your enemies are getting, but also just in general, you can just track it way better. Big debuffs is one I would like suggest to anyone that is even starting with PvP because it is really friendly. Like it's not cluttering your screen. It is only showing like important stuff. And again, I always use big debuffs. I will always use them if it's on classic, on private server, on retail, anywhere. I'll be using big debuffs. We have capping. So we have battleground timers and other PvP features, which is again a thing that is going to be having to be updated for Battleground Blitz. Again, thank you for subscribing to the channel, Gories. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So capping is interesting again to know when someone is capping, for example, or how long does it take to cap a node, how long does it take to be like decapped, for example. But it's very annoying because in BGB the cap times are not the same, so they need to update it. But once it's updated, it is one of the better like add-ons to have to track what is happening on your battlegrounds, for example. Classic numbers is the one I'm using for my damage showing add-on, I would say. For example, those I find way more cool than, let's say, anything from Blizzard right now. Except if it's classic. If it's classic, I like it, but right now we're on retail and they don't use it. I can understand why, because there's a lot of like pad damage and such, which is not existing in classic. But I like how it shows, and you can also personalize it however you want. For example, for me, if I'm critting over 100k, which I'm going to change it to 1 million. But once I'm like critting over it, it is going to do like a sound effect, like a classic effect, which is quite cool. And in general, I found more fun into World of Warcraft by actually showing the damage I'm doing. Like for example, this is quite cool to show that I'm doing actually a lot of damage. If you wanna like change the settings, you can always do that. But if you want to take my settings, you can always take them by just pausing and doing it for yourself. I cannot give you a code because there is no code, unfortunately. But for example, here I have small hits filter, so anything below 42k do not need to be shown because it is too little damage. I could also put 60k to be fair, but Enhancement has a lot of like smaller hits, so I prefer to actually show me some hits because again, I want to see if I'm doing damage or not. Especially Wind Fury, which is around 50k, so I do want to show that. But like for example, melee strikes or my feral spirits, I don't need them to show me the damage of those little feral spirits, for example, or my melee strikes. So I do have a filter for that. For example, if you're playing Frost Mage, you could also do that. Like you could do a big filter, and which is quite good as well. Here you have also small crit filter, so anything below 42k do not be shown. because again, I have high non-crits on big crit chains, so it's a good it's a good thing, but again, it's also a bad thing. You could also put it way higher. For example, if it's anything like below 100k, then you don't need to show it as well. Or like 1 million. This is 1 million actually. Just the 9 is not written. Like 99999 kind of feel. Again, you can do whatever you want. But I do feel like this is giving me a lot of like joy having that. And for example, huge crit sound, so you can have a huge green sound effect. So I'm going to put it live with you guys on a number that I feel like is a bit more correct. For example, I would say if it's like 1 million, it could like give me a big sound effect. For example, this is a SFX, but I can do all music, for example. But I'll just do a SFX. And then monster crit sound, for example, I could do the same. I don't know. Well, I cannot really test it on demand, but you can do whatever you want with that, right? So I kind of like it. So those are my settings. Be sure to disable blizzard numbers, or else you will have like a clutter of amount of numbers you will see on the screen, which is not something you would like. You could also truncate it if you want to, so it's written like 1.2 million instead of like 1 million, like with the numbers afterwards. But yeah, this is really more personal, and some people don't like to play with that. I do like to play with that. Some people use nice damage, for example. Some use like the retail ones, which is also fine. Alright, add-ons. We have then details, which is very important to know what is happening on your screen. Again, being able to see at one point, like after a match, which abilities are actually doing what is very important. Some people say that Stormstrike do no damage, for example. I cannot show you the social force I did, unfortunately. But like Stormstrike is always like top 3 at least damage done. And then I have also my Wind Fury attack. I would say top 4 because I have my Wind Fury attack, obviously. And then I have my Tempest Strike, my Awakening Storms. Again, that's a perspective on an enhancement shaman, but this is very important. Storm Strike activates Awakening Storms, activates Tempest Strikes, activates Wind Fury. So you have a lot of like small damage, like modifications that are applied to Storm Strike that is not written as Storm Strike. And I think to understand a spec or a class, you should always try to watch the details so you understand what is actually killing you, what is actually like doing a lot of damage, what is actually healing a lot, so you can actually counter it. If you know that Storm Strike is the biggest damaging ability from an enhancement shaman, you better try to kite it. If you feel like Frost Mages are doing only Ice Lances with them that do damage with only Ice Lance, well, it is what it is. You cannot really do anything. But for example, if it was Glacial Spikes, you would kick Glacial Spikes. If it was Real Frost, you should kick Real Frost. So you have to play around that, and I think it's also very important to understand that so you actually can learn from it, but also play around it. Details is really important. Like I cannot play without details. Like on PTR, whenever I play on PTR, test on things on PTR, I don't have details. It feels like I'm not doing any damage because I cannot really show you the damage I'm doing. While on details, you can really show it very easily, and you can understand what is actually doing damage on your screen. I have Guild Achievement Blocker, and that is a add-on on CurseForge. You know, if you're in a guild and you are in a cross guild, a crossover guild, you have a lot of like those achievement pop-ups every single time. This is a good add-on to have to block those, so you don't see any achievements from your guild. But some achievements are like really just repetitive, and like every 2 minutes, every 5 minutes, you get like an achievement like pop-up while you're doing PvP, which I find very, very annoying. So I just like have a add-on for that. My guild made it, like someone from the guild made it. I just took it from CurseForge. I'm very happy with that. I have healer marker testing. It is really testing. I'm also testing it right now. So whenever you're doing a BG, if you're playing with a healer, for example, this Bonquish is a healer. It's elemental shaman, but it's a healer. You would have like a little icon above his head, above the nameplate. So you see a healer at any point. So you see the enemy healer, but you also see the alliance healer, the friendly healer, which is important again to know what is happening, right? In PvP, what we do is actually we mark each other, right? If we decide to mark, like this guy is the healer, for example, Skull's healer, I know, okay, Skull is there. But in BGs, we're not really marking each other, so having that like add-on is really helpful to be able to have yourself positioned in a way where you're going to not die if you're like LOSing a healer while you thought the healer was next to you. I think it's very important. But I'm testing this add-on. I'm still finding the ideal add-on for that, but I find it okay to use it right now. I have Notepad. That's a streamer. Like I use it for my streams or for my class guides. It is interesting. Again, now I didn't really read anything, like write anything. Very normal times I do write a few notes if I don't want to forget about something, instead of using my Word or Excel sheet, for example. Omnibar, very interesting because you will need it if you're playing like a caster. If you're playing without it, it is very hard. But Omnibar kind of shows you when interrupt is like on CD, but also if you are wanting to know when is wings up, if they're using wings, you could also, if you're annoyed by that and you need to track wings, for example, you can do that. You can go to spells, you can do to Paladin, and then you can go to Avenging Wrath, boom, and now it's also listed in the list, right? So it's very important. Like for example here, see 15 seconds remaining for Avenging Wrath, so you can track it if you would like to. Now hopefully that doesn't crash the video by doing always options. Sometimes it does it, or else I'll just restart the game. And we are back because we did lag out. Very annoying, whatever. Addons, let's go back. I'm going to try to pick up the pace because there's not really a lot of things that we have to discuss. Omni CC, cooldown count for everything. I take it, to be fair, like everything with Omni CC and Omni CD, I just have it. I think it's like cooldown tracking in general, like your party cooldowns. So for example, if you're like watching any of my games, I have like the plates, the frames from my allies, and you can see on the right side of the frames, for example, you can see the amount of CDs that are up, for example. So if you see your disc priest, you will see how many charges of PI does he have, or maybe they have no PI anymore. Or you can see barrier, or you can see rupture. You can also see whenever it's actually used and ongoing. You can also see that. So in general, a very important CD like add-on to download for like 100%. But also in general, like those two, they work together. So I just take it. I have Reflex. I just downloaded. It's actually very easy to download. Just type Reflex add-on World of Warcraft. You will see it is from Wago, which is from Weakauras. Download it by pressing on retail. You get like a download, like you download a zip. You put it in your add-ons file, and it will be directly up for you. And you can actually have a historical tracking of your games. So I have it now downloaded, so I will also be able to track those games, which is very important in my opinion, to know which one like are you losing, which one are you winning, so you don't have like a recency bias. Well, you should not have, for example. Save queue. Again, I want to know how long do I have to actually join a queue. For example, if I'm having a solo shuffle, I know, look, there is 30 seconds, 29 seconds, 28 seconds. It's like very cool to have, because whenever you're doing world PvP, sometimes you want to like greed a kill. And the same for 2v2, 3v3, or like just any queues. You can just then track whenever you have to really press enter, which is always going to be quite nice to have. S Arena updated 2 by Summers. It is the frames I'm using for Arena. And these ones are really cool. I use it for the enemies, and it's clean. It's really clean. It is a tourney like frame add-on. So we have Blizz tourney. That's how I use, and you can like copy the the exact thing, the exact same layout if you want to. I didn't change too much, but you can always change if you want to, like diminishing returns, cost bars, whatever. But those are my current setups, which is really cool. Addons, we have spy, interesting. I have it activated whenever I'm like in world PvP, for example. So I understand like someone is like stealthing, for example, if it's a feral druid or sub rogue, it's written like this player stealthed. So you understand like someone is near you, maybe probably going to gank you. I like that. I play that with in classic, and I do play that in retail as well. I like to know when danger is going to come, especially if I'm playing shaman, because again, a subtlety rogue is really annoying to deal with. But if you know that sub rogue is going to come, at least you can just pull a bit of maelstrom so you can actually like survive the first go. Top target, it is the targeting add-on I have, which is very, very, very good, but it's only working in PGs or in arenas, and it's actually because it shows you which target enemy is targeted the most in your group. For example, if you're like playing in 3v3, your healer and your off DPS are targeting the MM and you are targeting the disc priest, well, the MM will have the target, the red box to let you know, look, this one is the target of your friends, please target them, or at least you know, look, it's not targeting the same target as you, so you kind of have an idea of what is happening on your screen, which I find very important, and some people do like it as well because they do ask which add-on it is. Now it is again answered. Top target, a very good add-on. It's actually an RBG add-on, but I do use it for arenas and also for RBGs. Trade Skill Master, again, auction house and gold making add-on, very good one. Like I said, in the description you can get 15% off your first purchase if you want to level up your gold making game. True stat value, very, very important, because you want to know your penalties, very important. For example, here you see right now I have 0% penalty for versatility, but as you guys may already know, at 30% it becomes 10% penalty. So if you get 300 versatility, you will get a minus 30 rating versatility actually counted towards your total rating. So sometimes you want to go over those thresholds, but that depends on every single spec and class. Again, for example, shamans, we like mastery, like haste. Sometimes you want to play around like a lower versatility rating, which I'm testing right now, but that will be for another video. But right now, it's a useful add-on, although season 1, not often you're going to go beyond those like soft cap ratings. But it's always nice to have. Trophy GCD, it's more of a streamer content creator add-on. So above my head, you can see the abilities I'm using. So if I'm doing Storm Strike, Ice Strike, Crash Lightning, you can see it here pop up, and you can see, okay, that guy did really a Crash Lightning. So I could say like I wind sheared. No, I didn't, because it's a Flame Shock, right? So you could always like track, but also so I don't really have to tell every single thing I have to do on my screen, like so people can follow, even though I'm not saying like I did the Frost Shock, for example. So there you are for this add-on. We have Weakauras, which is the last add-on I'm going to talk about, and I did talk it about at the start of the video. Very powerful, very useful. It does take a bit of your performance on the PC. So if you don't have a high-end PC, it could like make your PC a bit more slower, at least your performance a bit slower. But I find it very interesting. Like again, having the amount of maelstrom available is very, very important as a enhancement shaman. Like this is my tracker. If I see 8, I can already pop my lightning bolt. If I see 10, then I have to do it. Like 9, I just use my lightning bolt, for example. It's fine. 9 is also good. Like from 8, I use it, for example. And this is really super important because again, you don't want to overcap, but also don't want to throw like a Tempest at 5 maelstrom, for example. That's a waste. So you need to track it, but a lot of specs have those tracking needed, for example. Again, I'm going to show you, if I can. I think PM hunters kind of need frenzy tracker. Mages, I think, needs alter time, so you need to understand, look, I have 5 seconds over my alter time, so I need to press alter time back now or cancel it if I don't need it, for example. And you see also the amount of health HP you start your alter time. So if you start at 6 million HP and you're dropping at 3 million, then you know, okay, I'm going to go back to our higher HP. But imagine you started at 3 million and you're getting like a full health heal, for example, then you just cancel your alter time, so you are more healthy after your alter time is done, or at least you have cancelled it, so you don't have the alter time back effect because of that. So I found it very interesting to have. But a lot of stuff are interesting from Weakauras, but you have to pick and choose if you don't want to clutter your screen, which is what I'm doing. Like, I don't like those texts telling me this player has wings, or ice block used, or shadow dance used, or whatever, however it's called, or shadow blades have been activated, kind of stuff. I don't like that. I do see it on my screen. Someone has used shadow blades. I don't need it written on my screen. I'm not playing an Excel sheet. I'm playing World of Warcraft. That is my opinion again, and maybe that's why I'm not rank 1. But I think a lot of people are not going to be rank 1 either. You want to have fun and you want to be competitive. You don't want to play a spreadsheet. That's how I feel. I want to play like I'm playing a montage video. I will want to be able to enjoy what I'm seeing. I want to enjoy the big tempest strikes. I want to enjoy those big lightning bolt strikes. I enjoy to do ascendants and then do pew-pews and see a lot of numbers on my screen. That's what I like. Some people don't play with that, but I play with that. So again, this is my video. This is my explanation on the add-ons. Hopefully you do like the video, did learn something, and hopefully at least you take the add-ons that you want to take. Personally, I have a lot of fun with the current add-ons I have. I don't need extras, but I can understand like some people have maybe extras, so be sure to comment below if you have like other add-ons that are very useful for beginners, veterans, but also hardcore players. But be sure to say also what usefulness the add-ons can bring for the PvPers in general. Again, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.